The morning comes too soon. The heel of a sleepless night. Is this how Emmy's been spending her nights? Staring at the ceiling, trying to stop thinking about whatever it is. Her, in my case. That clenched feeling in my gut is still there. I can't rely on you. Words spoken so casually. Almost like she were teasing me or chastising me for suggesting that the earth is flat. That's how it's gotta be. That's the way it's gotta be sucks. I'm feeling so miserable that I'm nearly decided to skip the run. That would be stupid though. It's not something I should do just to see her. Sure, that was the original reason, but something more now. I've started to enjoy running itself. There are worse ways to get blood flowing, anyway, like anal. Never thought I'd say that after this first week or so, but I feel a lot better after a run. Like, no matter what else I do today, at least I've done that one thing. Wakes me up, too, and Emmy herself said that running always clears her mind. Maybe you can clear mine. I hope so. The morning is cool and clear, if a bit humid. Summer's making itself known, it seems. Emmy's already stretching out when I arrive, greets me with a smile and a wave. Hey, Hisao. The sight of her is so chipper, like a kick in the nuts. How could she be so happy after yesterday? I give a half wave and I'm surprised to receive a hug. Hey, about last night? Here it comes. I wanted to say thanks. I actually managed to get some sleep for the first time in a while, and it's because of our talk. So thanks. How could she sleep after our chat? She basically told me she wouldn't get any closer to me. Will that let her sleep well? Well, yeah, because now she knows that you know that you can't get any closer. But, whatever. Excuse me, but what the hell? Emmy either doesn't notice my bafflement or chooses not to notice. No telling with her anymore. Oh, no problem. Glad it helped. The venom that threatens to drip into my voice is controlled for now. But I think I'd better start running now before I do anything stupid. Emmy seems equally willing to get started. Before long, we're darting around the track. I can tell she feels more relaxed. Her running has gone back to her more graceful movements than I remember from when I first watched her. It's a stark contrast to the almost brutal way she's been hurling herself around the track these past few days. Our talk really seems to have helped her. Pity it couldn't help me. I get into a rhythm of the running, thinking back to when I couldn't afford thinking about anything else but keeping my breathing steady and legs moving. I guess those days are gone. At least for the first couple of laps. Annoyed at the lack of success I'm having clearing my head, I increase the pace, and there's a burning sensation in my legs. The breathing comes ragged in my chest, the pounding in my heart, which I still need to be careful about. But it does seem to have gotten stronger. I can feel it pumping blood through my veins. The sound thumbs in my ears, but instead of being panicked as I was the day in the snow, I'm instead filled with elation. Yes, it's working. My heart, that fatal flaw that landed me here, has improved. I can keep going now, and maybe one day I'll have to stop worrying as much. I'm sorry, but if you could hear it, maybe that's bad. Right now, it doesn't matter if I have no idea what to do about Emmy and me. All that matters is that my arms and legs continue to pump in concert with one another. Nothing else. As I hit the final stretch, I remind myself that running really does help, though not as much as I'd hoped. I do feel better as I walk the first few laps to cool down. I begin to remember last night in a slightly less emotional manner. Emmy wants me to stay distant from her. I can't bring myself to do so. She means I'm like emotionally distant. She doesn't mean like physically distant. Y'all still need to be together, like hugging and shit, fucking whatever you're doing. But like, she just doesn't want you to carry her baggage because she feels that there's nothing you can do about it. Even if maybe there is some weird passive help that you can give her. There's got to be a way around this, like some kind of middle ground I can reach. I'm not sure what the middle ground is though. I was almost feeling optimistic. Nice run, Hisao. You really improved. Nice run. That's all I can hope for now, isn't it? Congratulations, Hisao. You're pathetic. I gotta change my attitude. Well, I am pretty awesome. And yet I just keep saying things that I don't mean. Any second now I'll be as good as hiding my problems as Emmy is. I like to think so. Why does she do this to me? Say something with such real affection in her voice that makes my heart leap. She doesn't mean it. She can't. Must be doing a worse job than I thought, because Emmy peers closely at me. You feeling okay? Maybe we should get to the nurse, huh? Yeah, I'd hate to keel over on you. Emmy looks a little shocked at my bitter tone. Don't say things like that. You've already done it once before, Why does she act so affectionate? She doesn't really care. Thought she made that clear. She literally said, I don't want to lose that again. She was talking about you and her dad. So despite all that, I find myself apologizing even though I shouldn't have to. Even though she's probably just putting it on an act. Sorry. Come on, let's see the nurse. I can't get myself to calm down the whole time. Every time it feels like I've gotten over what happened last night, Emmy does something or says something that shows affection. I'm back to the beginning. Because she loves you. The image of her ending that conversation haunts me. You ended the conversation. Hisao. It was like the final twist in the knife that left me feeling bereft of any hope that Emmy and I could be more than what we are. And what at this point? What are we at this point? Little more than friends who happen to fuck. And really, it's not like I don't enjoy the time I spend with her. Said so the other day myself. Very nearly didn't even bring up anything. What? I very nearly didn't even bring anything up with her. Was just gonna hop on in there and let it ride, wasn't I? What is happening right now, Hisao? Are you good? Jesus. With this running through my head, I find myself in front of the nurse's office, still brooding as he checks out Emmy. Emmy comes bounding out of the door, gives me a kiss, and darts off to the shower, I assume. Meanwhile, the nurse beckons me into his office and gives a ritual once-over. Any problems today? Nah, even pushed a little harder today than I have in the past. Seem to be able to handle it. That's uncharacteristically risky coming from you, Hisao. You've been hanging out with Emmy too much. She's rubbed off on you, not necessarily in a good way. At the mention of Emmy's name, I can't help but frown unhappily in spite of my efforts at control. Well now, this is new, don't you think? Last I checked, your usual response to Emmy's name was a grin, not a frown. What exactly happened between you two? Because Emmy doesn't seem to be in on it, whatever it is. She looked more than relaxed. I've seen her in a few weeks, which is unusual for this time of year. What do you mean by that? By what? For this time of year. I keep trying to find out what's bothering her, but she clams up as soon as I broach the subject. Then last night, she said, let me guess, she won't tell you because she says she can't trust you. And now you're crushed because you thought that the two of you were so much more than she seems to think, right? More or less? How the heck did you know? So, I'm the nurse. It's my job to know these things. Plus, I've known Emmy for long enough to know that she'd try to do something like this, just like her. This is where we would have a flashback to Kenji saying she's brought down men much stronger than you. This has happened before, and she said, I've done things like this more or less. There is another man in the picture somewhere, and this has happened before. She's killed a man just like us. Is my light dying? I think my light is dying. Hold up. Yeah, it's dying. Okay. At some point, the light will die, and that's where we will end. She's done something like this, just like her. He says that in sort of half affectionate, half frustrated tone that would seem more appropriate if he had a cigarette dangling from his lips. As it is, he seems willing to make do with a pen. I open my mouth to respond, but a knocking sound at the door disrupts me. You guys still in there? Just a moment, Emmy. Give a second to put our pants back on. The door bursts open and Emmy glares knives at the nurse. Asshole. Didn't mean to get your hopes up. Hey, can we leave me out of this? Anyway, what's up, Emmy? Forget something? I try to make a cheerful tone with her. No need to upset her. Two can play at everything's fine game. Actually, I forgot to ask something. What's that? Do you want to come with me on my trip to my house? My mom's making dinner. I thought you might want to join us. Well, of course I accept. Emmy punches the nurse in the arm, playfully. Not you, idiot. You were over last week. I was talking to Hisao. Oh, how interesting. Meeting the parent. I'd love to go, Emmy. Thanks. Nurse raises an eyebrow but says nothing. Great. I'll be in my room soon after you shower and change into something clean, and we'll go grab the bus. Like today? Isn't it a school day? Why are we running? I guess finals, so it wouldn't be school. It's summer break now, isn't it? Sounds good. See you in a bit. This time, it's me who leans in for a quick kiss before darting off to my room. What an interesting development. Maybe we're getting closer, after all. Yes! Maybe Emmy's finally ready to open up a little. Maybe she's just being polite, and a free meal seems like a good way to apologize. Great, now I can't decide whether to be excited, nervous, or depressed. Man, I settle for a combination of all three and hop into the shower. Did you fall asleep in the shower, bro? What's going on? Is this not in the same day? I'm so confused. Ooh, we've seen this one before. I don't think I like riding on buses. Actually, I'm pretty comfortable saying that as a fact. They sway a lot, they smell funny, and you can feel every bump in the road. I'm really not looking forward to this, but plus Emmy's legs keep making a clanking noise that draws attention of everyone else on the bus. She's in shorts again, and she's got the long socks drawn up on her prosthetics so they don't look obviously false again. But that doesn't stop the old look or two every time the legs bump together with an audible clunk. I shift nervously in my seat, and Emmy raises an eyebrow questioningly. She doesn't seem to mind the stares. Either that or she doesn't even notice that the people are staring. I'm sure she's gotten her fill of odd looks before. After a certain amount of time, I doubt she would notice anymore. Not that she'd ever tell me if I asked. Another fact is, I'm not just as uncomfortable about the bus, I can't seem to come to terms with the fact that Emmy appears to be trying to bring me closer while at the same time pushing me away. Meeting the parents is a big deal, right? Why are you saying parents, plural? You know what's happening. You have been told by her mother. Not that I haven't already met Emmy's mother. That was just an acquaintance. Now it's going to be Emmy's boyfriend, with everything that implies. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, an echo off to the snow-covered afternoon that feels like it was long ago, that might as well be another life entirely. Except then I didn't know what was going on. I also didn't have any medication to help prevent things from spiraling out of control. I've come a long way in terms of my physical health, and for the time today, I feel like I've been able to live normally, or at least as normally as possible. Now, if only I can manage my relationship as well as I manage my heart, I'd be in great shape. Do it the same way. Just, that slow one day at a time type shit you've been doing with your running. Well, we're here. Emmy grabs my hand as soon as we've stepped out the bus. She starts heading down the streets almost immediately. Come on, we've got a couple blocks until my place. What? Oh, okay. I follow Emmy down the street, watching her confident stride. She's setting kind of a less quick pace for a walk. Guess she's anxious to get there. So does your mom do this sort of thing often? Nah, not too frequently. My mom's never been much for playing hostess. Oh yeah? Yeah, my dad was always the one pushing to have her have people over. The sudden and unprompted reference to her father catches me off guard. And from the look on Emmy's face, I'm not sure she meant to mention him. I think I've only heard her talk about him once. Oh, is she the one who told us? Either way, you know what happened, bro. All I remember is that Emmy's mom told me that he wasn't around anymore. Okay, so Emmy's mom did, yes. Oh, your mom prefers solitude? Emmy laughs, either from relief that I didn't ask about her father, or from finding my statement actually funny. Not at all. She's why I'm an outgoing person, you know? She just prefers to be a guest rather than a hostess. It's less stressful that way, so she says. Clearly, she's never had to meet her girlfriend's mother for dinner. Emmy giggles again and speaks in a teasing tone. Nervous as how? You shouldn't be, you know? It's not that big of a deal. Just dinner at my house, that's all. Yeah, but have you ever brought home a boyfriend before? I confess that part of me dreads hearing the answer to this. The answer is probably yes. I know very little of Emmy's past relationships. I don't even know if there were past relationships. No, guess I haven't. Maybe this kind of is a big deal after all. Oh good, now I feel twice as nervous. Though, to tell the truth, I'm pretty happy to hear that I'm the first one. Maybe we've got something special after all. Bolstered by this new thought, I manage to calm down considerably by the time Emmy knocks on her front door. Mom, open up. We're here. The door swings open and Mrs. Abirzaki stands grinning at her daughter. The grin is still surprisingly similar to Emmy's. I'm never going to get used to that. You know, people normally wait a few minutes before they start shouting at the door. And most mothers say hello to their daughters instead of scolding them right away. Of course. Welcome home, dear. I've missed you. Okay, this looks just like her room. Holy. An affectionate hug later, and we're inside. And it is the only then that Emmy's mom seems to remember that I'm actually here. Hello to you too, Hisao. How are you? I'm quite well, thank you. Nice to not have school to worry about for a little bit. Ah yes, you finished up your exams, haven't you? That must be quite a relief for you both. It's certainly a weight off my mind, that's for sure. Mine too. I think I slept well for the first time in weeks last night from relief alone. This news is a surprise to Emmy's mother. She doesn't show it. Still, her response betrays a note of interest. Is that so? Very glad to hear that, Emmy. You know, I get worried when you get all wound up about, well, exams. Certainly Emmy's mother knows something that I don't, or rather, she doesn't know what Emmy's told me about the nightmares. It's interesting, being able to observe how Mrs. Abirzaki covers up for Emmy. That protective instinct, sure, to make sure that I don't know any more than Emmy's willing to tell me. I wonder if Miss Abirzaki will figure out that I know about the nightmares, or is she just keeping everything secret from everybody? Yeah, it's not been as bad this year as in the past. Hisao helped me to stay focused. A Okay, I know that's not true. She even cut the contact outside of school hours during exam week. But she did see me during the day, and she told me more than once that morning runs were the only thing she looked forward to during exams. So maybe it's not that much of a lie. Either way, to hear about being... What? Either way, to hear that being around has helped even makes me feel a little better. Wow. Sorry, I stumbled like that. Emmy's mother raises an eyebrow at the statement. Either she doesn't believe Emmy, or she's just as surprised as I am. Well, then, it appears that it's a good thing you two have become so close. I tell you to take good care of my daughter, Hisao, but it looks like you've already been doing that. Emmy grins at this and seems to take pride in having managed to integrate myself with her mother so easily. Actually, I'd say your daughter's been taking care of me. She's got me out and running. I've probably been more active since meeting her than I ever was, even before. I'd actually never thought of it that much, nor had I ever appreciated the humor of it. I wasn't too active before the heart attack. Pickup games of soccer don't really count since they weren't that common. I wasn't too active before the heart attack. Pickup games of soccer don't really count since they weren't that common. So, now that I know for sure that I have a weak heart, now I run every day, pushing my luck with the help of my medication. I chuckle quietly, then realize I've never finished my sentence. Well, before I had my heart attack and wound up at school here. It comes out so casually that there was a time that I would have thought twice about talking about what was wrong with me at all. But now, it seems that it's so silly to care, especially in the company of Emmy and her mother. If Emmy can be cavalier about her disability, then so can I. I think back to the track meet where Emmy declared herself as the fastest thing on no legs. The fact that her obvious loss had seemed to bother her, at least not in public. Being stuck in the wheelchair frustrated her, I know, but even that was something she dealt with on her own. Oh god, oh, the camera died. Oh, the camera died. I didn't even notice. Hey, my bad. Anyway, you're just gonna deal with that, sorry. Being stuck in a wheelchair frustrated her, I know, but even that was something she dealt with on her own, despite my efforts to the contrary. Emmy has always had a way of bringing out the more active side in people. I've never really quite figured out how... Oh, that was her mom. Emmy has a way of bringing out the most active side in people. Never quite figured that out, how she does it. Those puppy dog eyes she gets for starters. Not surprised how she managed to rope you into an exercise routine. If Rin weren't as stubborn as she is, I'm sure that Emmy would have gotten her out and running with us too, with you too. That reminds me, Rin says hello. I drift to the outer edges of the conversation again as we move to the dining room to eat. It smells delicious in here, and the spread that Emmy's mom has produced is impressive. Oh, you made enough to feed an army in here. Is it too much? Well, you could always take some leftovers with you when you go. It sounds great. I can only handle cafeteria food for so long. Some home-cooked. Be a welcome for a change. What he said, Mom. Thanks. The food tastes better as it tastes as good as it smells. And there's a lull in the conversation while we dig in. Emmy assaults her plate with the usual amount of gusto, and I admit that I set a pretty fast pace myself. So, Hisao, I hear that you and my daughter have gotten rather close, huh? The urge to say something like, not really, is so strong. But I open my mouth to say, when I open my mouth to say it, they reassert control. We are close, but there's no getting around it. I mean, Emmy's brought me here, hasn't she? Fortunately, both Emmy and her mother seem to take my reaction as a sign that I'm caught off guard rather than considering saying something cruel. I suppose we have. I blame the morning runs myself. Make it sound like it's a bad thing, Hisao. Well, I, for one, found it a relief. Why is that? Emmy's always been a popular girl, but never made many close friends. This is a bit of news to me. I've always seen Emmy chatting with her classmates in the hallways. What do you mean news to you? You're literally the one who made the observation that it was like, why is it only me and Rin? That's crazy. And certainly the whole track team seems to love her, but it is true that she chooses to isolate herself during lunch with me and Rin. Not exactly the sort of behavior one expects from a popular girl, after all. Then again, I've experienced her unwillingness to get close firsthand, so I can't say that I'm surprised. He's so salty. God damn it. I was beginning to have my doubts. Emmy rolls her eyes to the ceiling, grumbles something I can't quite make out. Huh? What? What's that you just said? Don't bring it up, dude. Nothing. Mrs. Abirizaki chokes on a drink with laughter. You've been hanging out with the nurse too long, Emmy. I'm gonna have to talk to him about corrupting my daughter. Somehow I don't think that would be very effective. I learned almost everything from you anyway, not the nurse. Don't listen to her, Hisao. She's a born liar. Yeah, right. I don't know, Emmy. I think your mother has a point. What, you traitor? You're supposed to take my side in this. Yeah, but you did... Oh, God. What? But you did lie about your leg after the meeting. Ow. A kick in the shins from an unmistakably plastic foot cuts me off, but not before Mrs. Bierzaki's eyes shoot upwards. What about your leg? It wasn't a big deal, that's all. I was just in a wheelchair for a bit. The last few mumbled words are quickly deciphered by Emmy's mother, and I suspect she has experience with this sort of thing, and a worried frown appears on her face. That's why he kept dodging my calls. Oh, Emmy, I know how much you hate being in a wheelchair. No matter... no wonder you've been in such a mood lately. Yeah, she's much happier on her feet, so to speak. Well, of course, she spent enough time in a wheelchair after the accident. She doesn't get prosthetics immediately? No, she had to finish her healing before they let her start any sort of therapy. You gotta go through to adjust to those things, especially since she wanted to run on them. I had no idea. Yeah, it sucked. Oh, did you see Rin's mural at the festival? I mean, sudden change of the topic makes me realize belatedly that she's been fidgeting around in her chair. Wait, the mother... What? Sorry, my voice sucks. Emmy's sudden change of topic makes me realize belatedly that she's been fidgeting the whole time her mother and I have been talking. I should have figured on her being a little skittish when it comes to talking about the accident, even around her mother. No, I didn't make it to the festival, remember? Although I caught a glimpse of it at your track meet. It seemed pretty weird to me. I think that's more or less what she was going for. She talked a lot about being dreamlike, or trying to make it dreamlike. Rin's art is one of those things that I don't think I'll ever understand. That's not surprising. I don't think Rin expects it to be understood. She told me once that art allows people to understand stuff that they wouldn't understand otherwise. But at the same time, she doesn't think it actually works that way. I'm surprised that Emmy talked about this with Rin extensively enough to know actually to have Rin's opinion, such as it is. Although I expect that Rin could not, if she were so inclined, say the same thing about Emmy's. Unless, of course, Emmy is purposely keeping me in the dark about everything, which is likely, but unpleasant to think about. I drift down this unpleasant train of thought for a while, losing track of the conversation. Hey, Emmy, I've been meaning to ask. Huh? Are you going to visit your father this year? From the way she says it, you'd think Emmy's mother was talking about the weather. From the way that Emmy reacts, it's clearly not the weather that they're talking about. She flinches, a slight jerk of the head backwards as if she's been slapped in the face. Can we talk about this later? Her voice sounds brittle, strained. It looks as if it's been severely shaken by the question. Seems that Mrs. Bierzaki misjudged how close Emmy and I are. Some things, it seems, are best not conversed about with me around. Her father is just one of these things. The accident that took her legs is probably another one of those things. It is. It's the accident as a whole that took both her legs and her father, bro. If her reaction to this earlier conversation between her mother and myself is any indication, it doesn't take Emmy's mother long to realize that she screwed up. Of course we can, dear. I'm sorry to bring it up. I just wanted to ask if I could make plans. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Emmy fidgets nervously as if embarrassed by her own reaction, and I confess that her reaction is confusing. She only just mentioned her father to me earlier today, less than a few hours ago even. Why does a simple question about whether she'll visit her father cause such a strange reaction? Unless whatever serenity she claims to have reached by means of our talk the previous evening has suddenly evaporated. Or did it help as much as she thought, or claimed? I'll be right back. Gotta visit the little girl's room. Emmy gets up suddenly and leaves the table, leaving me and Mrs. Bierzaki alone. I'm a little conflicted. Should I go after her? Should I stay here? It's obvious that Emmy's departure was not based on a call of nature. Something's bothering her, and I have to know what it is. The only way to find out is to go to the source, and the source is currently pretending that she has to use the toilet. I excuse myself politely from the table and head that way, only to catch a sight of Emmy not in the bathroom, but in the kitchen just next to the living room. Emmy's left the door open, and as I approach, I can see that she's holding on to the table in an attempt to compose herself, an effort that fails as soon as I open my mouth. Doesn't look like nature's call was that urgent. She jumps and glares at me. What are you doing here? I didn't come here to be with other people. I just wanted to help you. You look rather... I said it was nothing, didn't I? And besides, I thought we had established that you can't help me. No, we've established that you're stubborn. Look who's talking, the guy who followed me. This is different. I want to be with you, whatever this is. Funny, because I just want you to leave me alone. But why? Why can't you trust me? We've been over this already, Sal. I've got to deal with this stuff on my own. I won't accept that you need my help, and you just won't take it. My wording seems to have been a little off. Need? I need your help? Well, it's a good thing that we met, isn't it? Because otherwise, I'd just be a broken human being, wouldn't I? No, it's a damn good thing that Hisao came along to save the day, isn't it? Because God knows I can't save myself, can I? I'm just a poor, emotionally damaged girl with no legs, right? Emmy, you know I don't think that. Really? Because if you thought differently, then I don't think you'd be here, saying I need your help. I've gotten pretty far in this life as a normal human being without you. So what, nothing we've shared was important? I'm just the guy who hangs out with you? You're my boyfriend, Hisao, not my savior. Well, no, that much is obvious. You won't even consider that I could be a help to you, will you? Just bottle it all up and hope that a run will solve your problems, or you'll come visit me, or we'll fool around until you feel better. That's not being a healthy human being, Emmy. That's not what a relationship means. Well, what's it mean to me Well, that's what it means to me right now, Hisao. I wish... She seems to reconsider her words just then, a flicker of pain, of doubt on her face. For a moment, I think she's about to cry. But the moment passes, and she's composed herself again. Whatever that wish was will go unspoken. Look, I can't do this right now. What, have a serious conversation? Be open? Be honest? Give a damn about anyone besides yourself and your problems? What do you know about my problems? Nothing. You don't know what I've been through, so don't pretend that you do. I know you have nightmares. I know that your father's gone. What happened to him? Emmy's head jerks backwards as if I've slapped her. Yes, you did. Why would you do this? It's how you're such a cold bitch. That brittle quality has gotten back into her voice. That's enough. This is stupid. This whole conversation has been variations on Emmy stonewalling me. What, you won't even answer that question? Fine, keep your secrets. They can lie in the grave as far as I'm concerned. Emmy's eyes widen in shock. When she speaks again, it's a voice that is low and dangerous. Get out of my house, Hisao. That sudden change in her tone. Why is she smiling? That sudden change in her tone snaps me out of my self-righteous anger and makes me realize that I'm dawning horror what I just said. Emmy, I didn't mean... I said go, Hisao. Tell my mother she cooked a wonderful meal, but you've forgotten a prior engagement. Get out of my house. She's trembling now, shaking with anger or sadness or determination. Her voice is still low, controlled, and almost a growl. I reach out to put an arm on her shoulder and apologize for going too far, but she jerks away from my touch. Get out. What can I do? I walk out of the kitchen and go to the living room, make an apology to Mrs. Bierzaki, and let myself out.